We actually found this in a food donation cupboard on the street. What the hell is with this thing, man? Okay. Stupid machine. Take one. Hello, welcome back to our video review of the book Sathya Sai Baba and Jesus Christ, A Gospel for the Golden Age by PeterPhipps, illustrations by Lynn Kriegler. We were going to continue our video, but a glitch or the devil decided, no, don't want you to expose this guy. So, yeah, shut you down temporarily. Okay, so we're back and we're looking at it. Sathya Sai Baba and Jesus Christ, the Gospel for the Golden Age by PeterPhipps, illustrated by Lynn Kriegel, which we found in a street food donation box. Usually they put cans of food in there, other foods, vegetables, sometimes books, sometimes toys, and sometimes frozen food. So we don't touch anything that's pre-frozen and it's sitting there, melting, or it looks like it's been tampered with. We don't touch any of that stuff. Just to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry, right? Okay, so this book is by author PeterPhipps, one of the 3 counsellors on a community crisis intervention team sent to the scene of the tragic Moana massacre in New Zealand. Experienced while there a life-changing encounter with God as a living presence. That's what he experienced, what is there. He sensed a power beyond his own, a power of love, a love and a caring beyond anything ever experienced. On the way home, so he must have been a visitor there or something, right? Or maybe he lived in New Zealand. He said, right, on the way home he heard the words, I am greater than you. No, seek me out and find me. This message implied that there was the possibility of finding the source of the message, and Peter determined to explore and find that source. In time he found that living presence in Sathya Sai Baba. He looked into his eyes met his. In those eyes was infinity. The whole Christian story made sense at a higher level than ever before. Peter realised that the golden age is now dawning, at the time of this book being written, printed, and him meeting Sai Baba. And the living God walks the earth, a Lord of infinite love, wisdom and compassion, accessible to all, as was Jesus nearly 2,000 years ago. So be careful with that one. Okay? Because what's it saying? That Jesus was walking around the earth at that particular time, and he's probably walking around there today. Or God. Okay? Here is the cross and the lotus, a symbol for the golden age of unity. And it says, cut the eye feeling clean across and let your ego die on the cross to endow on your eternity. Be like the lotus, unattached to the slush wherein it is born and the water in which it is bred. Like the lotus, through you may be in the world. Do not allow the world to get into you and affect your senses of value. Be in the world, but not of it. Yeah, okay. We'll go with that. Okay, that's probably a Hindu mix with a Christian theme, Preface. For the past many years it has been obvious that love of our fellow man and all nature has fallen by the wayside and is now grossly overshadowed by mankind's evil tendencies that are rampant throughout the world today. One does not have to search for evidence of this. It can be seen clearly in our everyday life. Wars between countries, civil wars, greed, anger, hatred, jealousy and evil deeds have become daily occurrences that one is constantly tempted to regard as normal. Many Christians have asked why God allows all this to happen. The answer, of course, is very simple. Jesus said, as ye sow, so shall you reap. What you sow too, you will reap. God is not the designer of what is happening. It is man himself who, through his past thoughts, words and deeds, has brought these calamities upon himself. Fact, we believe that. Faced with this state of affairs, many are earnestly praying for the second coming, so that'd be second coming of Christ, so that the world can be changed into a better place in which to live. But it must be understood that it is not the world which has to change. Okay. The world is beautiful and provides all things for mankind. True. It is we who have to change. Very true. Humankind has to change. People have to change. They have to make that change. Only then we will find that there is nothing wrong with the world at all. We may very well be able to quote or recite the Bible or other scriptures, but all this is of no value, comes to no avail whatsoever if we do not live the teachings within these or those scriptures. Very true. We may ask how we will recognize the second coming. If Jesus himself walked through our neighborhood today announcing his identity, there would be a great risk of his being stoned or beaten as an impostor. Whatever form our Lord might take, until he becomes recognized and accepted by all, the risk of violent rejection would remain. This book will go a long way towards helping all to open our minds, broaden our vision and expand our consciousness and understanding. As he said earlier, many Christians, etc., even Muslims will say, all this sort of stuff. They'll be anti it. But we've come to realise over the last few weeks or something like that, again probably, because we have a neighbour who's a Muslim. We thought he was an imam, but he's not. He's just an older man. But he's very devoted to that religion, right? And we noticed that he has a lemon tree. This is winter time. And he has this lemon tree with heaps and heaps of lemons on it. So we thought, well, we could use those. But we came across a law, a common law, ages ago, that said, if someone's tree is over your property, your side of the property, and it's got all this fruit on it, all that sort of stuff, when you pick it, you are stealing. That's theft. Why? Because that fruit on those branches, amongst those leaves, goes back to his property. The tree is rooted in his ground, right, in the property. Okay, so that's theft. So we thought, okay, we'll do the right thing. And we saw him one day pulling out to go to the mosque. So he or coming back home, or whatever. So, we told him about this law that we found, and maybe he understood it, he didn't understand, whatever. And we says, it's hanging over outside. And he said, no, help yourself. Don't worry about that. You're like, you're our neighbour. You're like a brother, a human being, all that sort of stuff. So help yourself. There's no problem there. Because we usually grow stuff like we grow, someone gave us choco plants. It's like this green vegetable. There's the counterfeit of that one. It's a prickly one. And it's got white milk in it and black, yellow seeds, whatever. And you can throw it at people and they get covered in this poisonous milk thing, right? Yeah, you used to do that as kids. Split these things open and then chuck them and they get covered in this icky milk. We grow that. We used to go to what we call the warehouse here, get all these supplies, and you grab all these real cheap seeds, and seed crazy, right? So we use the whole packet. Might have like 6 or 7 packets of seeds, and we just plant the whole lot, right? And then next minute, in the summertime, whatever, all these plants pop up, right? Heaps and heaps and heaps of them. There could be Chinese bok choy type of cabbage, silver beet, spinach, broccoli, whatever, right? And there's like 20 or 30 of them growing. And it's like, hey, yeah. And then we've got all these mature plants. There's like 20 or 30 of them. So we try to give them away to neighbours, and you're like, what's that? Oh, it's a vegetable. Oh, what do you do with it? Oh my gosh. You take it home, you wash it, you chop it up, you put it in your pot, you boil it, and you have it, say, with potatoes or whatever meat you're eating, right? Oh, okay, we don't eat that. Oh my gosh. Dude, it's free, But when you see the Chinese, because they don't speak English very well anyway, but they know, that's pak choy. It's pak choy. So you give it to them. They're very grateful. We do that around the neighbourhood, right? Give it to other people. Because we've got so much of it, it's just going to rot. Like, bok choy grows and it gets to a certain stage and it's like, just useless. Okay? Well, we think it's useless, right? Plus, we try to put it out fast and give it away because the white moth, snails, whatever, chew the hell out of it, caterpillars, whatever, because it's all organic, right? But we have methods to cut that down. Being winter of late, everything's growing mental, like spinach, etc., etc. It's just going crazy, right? So we've got heaps and heaps and heaps of that. Avocado tree, we were told, oh, that'll never grow avocados on it. But somebody came along, a visitor, and said, look, it's starting to bud. It's going to grow avocados, and there's heaps and heaps of these buds on it, right? We have, what's the other thing that we were given by a neighbour? We swapped plants with him when this lady was alive. It's an islander thing they eat. Oh, taro, yeah. And all these different things, that money trees, someone had planted before, some other trees that they eat in the Pacific Islands, or some sort of plant like a taro. That thing just popped up, a tree just popped up. Yeah, it's like everything's just growing really, really massively. Even the sage bush that somebody planted, probably the mother when she was around, and it just went, it's gone mental, right? Okay, tomatoes and that died off in the winter because it's too damn cold for them, but we've got like garlic, herbs and all that sort of stuff. But we have to be careful because the cats, because it's warm, they put their bum on it, and squish the plant, that sort of thing. Well, they're squatting on the edge of this trough planter, dropping a load, right? It's like, you stupid cat, you got all this dirt in the world out there, and you got to do it from that position, when they dug up all the plants and all that sort of stuff. Kittens, young cats. Okay, so yeah, we found this book, and we're reading bits and pieces of it, and so far so good, but we're just pretty wary because we believe it's a mixture of Hinduism and Christianity, right? Or Christianity and Hinduism. And he goes on to say, two thoughts in particular came to mind when reading the manuscript for the first time, this book manuscript, this particular guy, Arthur Hillcoat. Firstly, that in writing a book of this nature, the author showed himself to be a man of great courage, for although there will be many within the Christian world who will recognise the truth, there are sure to be many others who will ridicule or condemn. Yeah, so again, we realised a little voice in the head, was it God or your conscience, whatever, right? Says, look, don't be like the way you are as others are to all these people out there, these Mormons, these Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever, right? Stop, shut up and listen to what they have to say. You might learn something, okay? And then analyse, do the research, etc., of what they're actually saying. Because we found, with the original ancient, very old Tab Ashrit manuscripts, translation project, website, va.com, that was down, but we revived it. Translated into the nearest English equivalent by native-born Aramaic-speaking translator Victor N. Alexander from Mesopotamia, Syria, that there were some points that we missed. Okay, so we got our information out of context, right? So we have to look at it again and go, we were wrong there, that's our fault, because we didn't look at that particular part of the translation project, which was done probably in 1997 or 98 or something like that, right? Okay, we were too busy looking at the 2014 era. Okay, so yeah, and it made us realise, you need to know all this stuff about other religions, probably do the research, personal research or whatever, and know it better than them. Yeah, so when they come at you with, it says this, it says that, like this guy up the street said, we were all angels once, but we sinned, so God kicked us all out, and now we're trying to get back in there. It's like, bro, where does that say in the scriptures that he couldn't produce it? Okay, and then he said, what are you reading? We said, the original ancient, very old Aramaic, and he scoffed at it, right? Sort of like his modern Latinized form of Greek, English Americanized modern Bible translation was the correct one. All this sort of stuff. I said, dude, this is old manuscripts from 800 BCE, much older than your modern translations, which came from 1611 or 1956, 66, 67, whatever. Okay, revised versions. It's older. These are the original manuscripts. Okay, not copies of copies of copies of a copy. Okay, there's a vast difference. But because they're so brainwashed, okay, they're told in their church, this is what it says, this is the correct version, there's no errors, no contradictions, all that sort of stuff. Believe us, we are the men of God, all this sort of stuff. You don't know, you're a babe suckling on milk. We are chewing on the fat and the meat of the spiritual, of the word, all that sort of stuff. Whatever they come up with, right? Okay. How do you question? Don't go too deep. Stop thinking. Don't ask questions, all that sort of stuff. Okay. So we realise, okay, like we said earlier, be quiet, shut the heck up, listen to what these people that come to your door say, and then do your personal research or have that information already there. We've got this system in place at the moment. We just thought of it the other day. Brilliant, right? So we can refer them to, look at this, or look at that. Okay? What are your answers to this or that? Yeah? So if they say something to us like these Jehovah's Witnesses did when they came, it was very nice men, right? And they said, Jesus was created by God. He's Archangel Michael. Only the JWs will get into heaven, 144,000. Jesus was Archangel Michael, all this sort of stuff, right? We can say, or even Adam and Eve, in that period, they had Jehovah's Witnesses. It's like, oh my gosh. Where does it say that scripturally, right? We can look at it and say, well, begotten, you're using begotten in an example from the English definition, not the Aramaic or the Hebrew or the biblical language meanings, right? Definitions. Okay? Because they try to give an example of this guy with me, pretend he's my son, he's begotten, he's like me, he's from me. So but that's a human term. You're defining it with a human term, right? The English, you're not defining it with the original ancient Aramaic or the Hebrew or even the Greek. Okay? Very, very different. Can you not see that difference here? Okay, so this guy carries on and he says, two thoughts in particular came to mind when reading the manuscript for the first time. Firstly, that in writing a book of this nature, the author showed himself to be a man of great courage, for although there will be many within the Christian world who will recognise the truth, there are sure to be many others who will ridicule or condemn. This sort of adverse reaction will arise because of resistance to the great turnaround of thought that will be necessary for one to accept the content of this book in all its beauty and to appreciate the enormity of the truth it reveals so clearly before us. So in sum, what we're saying was, everyone's a human being. Okay? Treat them like a human being. Your girlfriend, your wife, or your fiancé, she is a woman too. I mean, like, you are, scripturally it says, you're the head of the woman is head of the family, all that sort of stuff, right? Whatever that scripture says. But you're co-equals. Yeah? There's no superior man to the weak woman, right? All that sort of stuff. You're both created equal. So you should be working together to be in agreement, communicate, be honest with each other, be able to trust each other, don't have to hide anything from each other, all that sort of stuff. Secondly, it came through clearly that a man who has as much love for God and all his creation as Peter, the author could not possibly do otherwise than present these revelations to his fellow man. He has had the courage to do this so that all may have the opportunity to come to know that God the Father has incarnated and is walking with today. So just be careful of that one, because what he's saying there is this Sai Baba is Christ incarnate. Okay, remember what Jesus said? There'll be many who say, look, I am he, I'm the Messiah, when they're not. Okay. We only have to look at what has been happening in the world over the past many years to know that God would not allow such atrocities, such evil to continue to the point where all mankind could be destroyed. Nor should we limit God by thinking and even insisting that he has made only one appearance in human form since this world of ours came into being. Mankind accepts and talks of the Lord appearing on earth some 2,000 years ago in the form of our beloved Jesus, because it has been so written in the scriptures. But when he was alive, he was not accepted by the Israelites, the Jews, probably the Romans. Though it may be difficult to accept that God could appear again in another form and in our own lifetime, let us not be so complacent, so engrossed in our worldly affairs, that we would hesitate to investigate and find the truth for ourselves. Let us take this opportunity to ask questions, to investigate these revelations and find out for ourselves. Wherever we may be in our present lifetime, we have opportunity to personally experience the formless God, that pure love which has expressed itself through the form of Sathya Sai Baba, who was once alive in India. His love was beyond all explanation. In front of such a love, one immediately became aware of the total inadequacy of the spoken word. One cannot be in his presence and remain unaffected by his love. Well, we watched a short video on these Danish people, this group that went to see him, and this man said he was sitting down and he was told to come forth and talk to him, Sai Baba, and he was looking like Sai Baba had this amazing ability to look at you, like concentrate on you totally. You're the whole purpose of his conversation. He'd listen to you, he'd speak to you, whatever, and so forth. And this guy reckons I just saw the love in his eyes, all this sort of stuff. So this Arthur Hillcoat here says he encourages the reader to read this book in its entirety before expressing an opinion. Dare to be different. Investigate its message in the sure knowledge that there is only one thing which is certain during one's lifetime, and that is change. That's true. So yeah, maybe this book you can take bits and pieces and improve your character, make you a better character, a better person, right? Have love for all humankind. You're not going to hold a grudge against that guy because he's a Muslim or JW or Mormon or anything like that, right? Okay, even though their teachings, etc., may be incorrect, as you find or discover through your own personal research. Let us not resist the change which is taking place in the world today, but rather put our shoulders to the wheel. The faster the wheel turns and the more quickly we bring about change within ourselves, the sooner we will have peace in the world and thus live in the brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God. It is a great privilege. This is what Arthur Hillcoat is saying. It was a great privilege to be asked to write a preface for this book, as he has done, so knowing that in time that magnitude of PeterPhipps' effort would be recognised and applauded, not only by Christians but by the whole of mankind. So as we suggested, you can take bits and pieces from this. Just be wary what you take and what you use. Let's create an analogy, a comparison, like Bruce Lee with his martial arts. His first martial art he learnt supposedly was Tai Chi Chuan from his father, but being in a tough guy suit gang situation where he needed to learn something that was effective, he didn't want to get cornered and then beaten up by 6 or 7 guys, right? Okay, so he goes and he learns Wing Chun Kung Fu eventually. We'll probably cover other ones on the side there. Becomes real proficient in it. Goes to America, fights Wong Jack Man after that challenge from the Chinese council, whatever committee that said no, you can't teach Guai-Lo or non-Chinese or Asians the martial arts, they might use it on us or that sort of stuff, right? He defeats this guy, but he finds he was out of breath because someone said, wow, that was pretty cool, that's pretty fast, one of his students or whatever. He said, no, it took too long, it was a total mess and I'm out of breath, unfit. So he found ways to improve on that by looking at everything. He had like a bookshelf, 2,500 books or something. He studied everything from fencing, philosophy, even had an Islamic book, etc., there, right? And he learned all of that, he absorbed all of that, and he created this new flowing martial art, right? And he became really proficient in it. He beat everybody else up, sort of thing, defeat everybody else. Jeet Kune Do. Yeah? And he says in his philosophies, absorb what is useful and discard what is useless. So he was basically saying, take a piece from here, take a piece from there, and if it works for you, utilise it. If it doesn't, well, discard it, put it in the garbage bin. Okay, and then he created this one philosophical free flow martial art, right, from doing that. So you could do similar with these religions. I mean, we're not saying as in the New World Order or the Roman Catholic Church or the Pope or whatever, right, behind the scenes the Illuminati is saying, yeah, let's all unite as one religion, one world one police force, all that sort of stuff, right? Specifically one religion. We all are welcome as long as you come under this one religion, led by this one person. We're not saying that, right? We're not saying the same thing as them. We're saying you can take those bits and pieces, okay, and use them to make you a better person, make you more spiritual. We're not saying go and worship idols that are blue, yellow, green or pink, and stand on 1 foot for 30 years, all that sort of stuff. Roll up a hill, roll down a hill, and fleece everybody of their money. We're not saying that, right? We're just saying there could be an answer here, okay? Could be an answer here. How are we going to stop your porn addiction? Okay, if it's a problem, you keep praying, and nothing's happening. You can't stop because it's a habit. You're addicted to the thing, right? To go and watch that, say, keep doing it. Then you're like, boo-hoo-hoo, I'm sinning. Oh no, all this is stuff. I can't stop it. How do I stop it? Simple. There's a Muslim technique where it's like they're basically putting their hands, let's say figuratively speaking, right? They're putting their hands on the side of their face and they're walking down the street and there's like this beautiful woman walking down the street and she's all dolled up, right? And everything's popping out and shaking around, about to fall out. And oh my gosh. So he's mentally putting these blinders up so he can't see her. Okay? That's a technique that works. Okay? What you could also probably do, if you are prone to typing in on your keyboard, to go to Pornhub or whatever, you can do some sort of what they call ninja kujin, whatever those. It's like an Indian type thing. It's finger movements, it's finger poses, right? To stop yourself from doing that. Okay, or you could lock your hands up inside some sort of gloves so you can't type on the keyboard, so you don't get to that site. But you can get add-ons through Firefox where it stops you from going there. But unfortunately, they stop you from going to every other site. Okay, normal sites, possibly YouTube, something like that. So you got to shut them down. They used to have passwords, and some of these developers in the comments and the add-on says, no, Mozilla says it's not right for a person not to have a password or this sort of stuff. It's like, what? How come they had passwords before? No, there's a plan there. We believe there's a plan there. Okay, you might have these add-ons up there to stop you from going there, or stopping your children from going there, but you don't have a password that they can't get in there and disable it, right? Okay, and half of them don't work anyway. We're just using this as an example. We've tested a lot of those for different reasons, okay? Because sometimes, quite a few years ago, I used to be watching something, or looking at something, and this freaking porno thing pops up, or some date this hot woman and get your rocks off or something. That sort of thing popped up. It's like, what the hell? So that's why you have pop-up blockers, ad blockers and all that sort of stuff, right? And those ad blockers can affect you being on YouTube or another site, chat site or whatever. They want to see your cookies, put cookies there so when you go back they can identify you, all this sort of stuff. So you can't use the IP address hider because it's saying, you're hiding behind it. We need to see your IP address and all this sort of stuff. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. That sort of thing. Okay? So we're going to continue reading this book. So that's just a suggestion. We're not saying it's what you have to do. It's just a suggestion that you find what works for you. You use it, okay, to better yourself. And if it's total crap, doesn't work, you throw it in the bin, don't you? Get rid of it. Discard it. Here's some acknowledgements from the particular author, PeterPhipps. Okay, table of contents. Introduction. A quote from Sathya Sai Baba. Jesus, who attempted to rebuild mankind on the basis of love, was crucified by little men who feared that their tiny towers of hate and greed would be trapped by his teachings. So he's talking about the Pharisees, right? And the Sadducees, the elders, the scribes. No one who has trodden this path and engaged himself in this process has escaped calumny and cruelty. Those who seek to know God must steel themselves to bear insult and injury with a smile. So like Christ said, because I've suffered, you'll suffer. Suffer because you believe in me, etc. Sathya Sai Baba. We live in a time when Christians are expecting the imminent return of Christ, when other religions are expecting the return or incarnation of their former deity, or God, or Messiah. And many other people, often with no religious or spiritual beliefs at all, are talking of a new age, a time when the world changes fundamentally and a new world order is established. The new world order, the Illuminati. There are occult traditions around the supposed significance of this new age featured in many bookstores and popular magazines. Some people look to the new age as a time when there will be a new political order, the Illuminati, which will favour their group over another, or as a time when everyone can do as they like, free from the restrictions of old traditions which are being thrown away. Other people, including many Christians, consider the New Age a term for the destruction of morality and the overthrow of Christianity and other traditional values by forces of darkness. The term New Age in such circles has negative associations. This book accepts that there will be a New Age and that it's coming in as inevitable as the day which follows the night. However, for various reasons, the term Golden Age is preferred over New Age. The reasons include, firstly, the fact that the term New Age has strong negative associations to many people. Secondly, that when the significance of what God is presently doing among us is fully understood, we will see that it is truly golden. And thirdly, that this is the actual term used by the great teacher of the age, Sri Sathya Sai Baba, Christ Incarnate. Okay, so be very careful with that. They're saying, this author's saying that that's God or Jesus or God. Sai Baba was Jesus or God in the flesh, as many others like him claimed that we found.